All right, we're now available. Today is Thursday, June the 15th, 2017. Welcome to a live Zoom broadcast meeting. And it's all about uh, giving you some special tips on activating your radiance. And this is important. There's so much energy that's going on in the world today. And people are asking, how else can one activate their radiance? Now, what I mean by the radiance is basically boost up your auric field. So before we get started with that, let me start off with my uh, affirmative prayer treatment and decree. Through divine power and by divine grace, may all of you who have this opportunity to listen to this show and watch it live, or perhaps you don't get a chance to see it right now, you can also see it in my YouTube channel, Circle Grace One, within about the next 2 hours. So, for all of you who are watching live now, or get to see this later, or listen to the show through your iPhones and iPads and your computers, your Android phones, may you be blessed by all that you get here, receive here, and be blessed by everything that you see here. And may you be able to expand your spiritual awareness, your spiritual consciousness. May you have a wider stance. May it strengthen who you are right now. And so it is, and so shall it be. So, as we get started right now, this is activating your radiance. What can we do to assist you so that you can activate this radiance so that you can resonate at a higher frequency? And before you can resonate at a higher frequency, you have to be able to build up your energy. Now, you can build that energy up by way of foods that you eat. You could also raise your energy up by simply just by doing certain things. I'm so cognizant of what I'm having on here. So let me just unhook. So what you can do basically is I have about 16 or 20 things that I'm going to mention in this 40-minute program. And these are things that you could utilize at any point for yourself so that you feel a greater sense of awareness, astuteness, keenness. Okay, so that you have greater sensitivity. See, because the more that you can sensitize yourself and at the same time desensitize yourself and remain detached from certain lower frequencies, be it thinking and feeling, physically as well, you actually can boost up your energy field. Now, the key thing to know, though, is that we are all forms of energy. We are all forms of energy, from the way our appearance is, from our skeletal structure, our muscle structure, our nerve system, our organs, and lymph glands, our blood vessels, cells. But we're just really getting down to it. We are really just energy. And that's why we often say, I might feel tired, or I might feel groggy, I feel exhausted, or the exact opposite. You feel hyped up, you feel energetic, you feel like you can do a lot more. You feel like you can get out there and take a brisk walk. So there are different things that will assist you energetically so that you have more energy when you need it. Now, people who practice martial arts, they are always focusing on the total body awareness. They're focused on how the body is positioned, where the balance is in the body, where the centeredness, the rootedness in the body should be. They're also focused on having a clear mind, and not be focused on energy such as that would take you into the side of feeling angry or sad. So they don't operate from that. They're operating from, now those are the outer expressions of energy, but they're operating from the inner nature that they have, which is in the karate systems called ki. In the Chinese system, is called ki. If you were someone who practiced pranic healing, it is called prana. Those who practice yoga and the various levels, schools of yoga, they have a system of breathing called pranayama, which basically is building up the magnetism through the rhythm of your breathing and into your breath. And then being able to store that in the body. In the martial arts, they store that energy mainly in what they call the lower dantian, which is equivalent to the second chakra called the sacral chakra. And this is where they house the chi and where they compact the energy. Now, over many years of training, martial artists will not only just draw on the second chakra, which is the storehouse, but they're also drawing on the energy in reserve that's actually flowing through their bones right down into the bone marrow. So they're not just, this is why you may see them being very flexible, where they have a lot of power in their punches and in their kicks, in their blocks that they do. If they're jujitsu or judo, they have power in throwing their opponent. They're not just, it's not just also them having the perfect balance, it's the ability to draw on the opponent's energy, on their chi, bring it into their circle and redirect it. The same thing goes on with Aikido. The Japanese system, more like a Tai Chi, it's the same thing, working on the principle of circles, circular movement. Even though you're looking at straight line movement, but the inner thought is circular movement. And so those who practice Qigong are circulating their breath, packed it with the Qi, redirecting it with the mind, their intentions, where they're leading the Qi, where they want the Qi to go, they lead it with the thought, with the mind, with the intention. So these are just some of the things, but I'm going to talk about, and I have a list here so that I don't lose my train of thought. I just mentioned here about Qigong and a little bit Qigong practices. There are over thousands of Qigong uh, systems that one can utilize. There's one called the dragon, which deals with the concept of the dragon, which is the spiraling energy of fire throughout the body. And when the energy is done, the movements are done properly, one can eventually slim down the body, lose some of the fat in the body, and tone up the muscles at the same time and create flexibility. That's all moving within a vertical stand-up position, but moving like what the snake energy would be like, serpentine energy. So let's go back a little bit and just let me touch upon some of the basic things. For sure, when you are striving to activate your radiance, activate the chi inside your body, open it up so that you can feel it, you definitely have to get into the science of breathing. Breathing is essential. Breathing is essential in life. You have the intake of fluids such as water, and you have air. But it's not just breathing in the air, it's being conscious of the particles of energy in the air that is what we know as the spirit energy or chi or ki, prana energy in the atmosphere around us. Now, when you're doing deep breathing exercises, you can acquire it. Now, you don't have to be a practitioner of martial arts. You don't have to be a practitioner of hatha yoga. You can be a practitioner of just energy mechanics and learning how to breathe properly in your body so that if you are outdoors where there's a lot of trees and plants and flowers, seeing bodies of water and just the earth itself, you could connect, understanding how that energy flows in your body. What you need to know is that the energy known as the chi or ki or prana is constantly flowing through the body vertically, 360 degrees around the body. It is also can be directed by you to flow on another level as well as the vertical flow. I believe they call it the torus flow, just like with the earth's energy moving like this, you see. And that's happening all the way around the body. So think of these vertical coils, a circular pattern around the body. Now, keep in mind that you also can redirect energy. You could cause this energy to flow up from the ground, through the spine and out, or come from outside into the auric field and into the body and back out. You could also cause the energy and pick up on cords or ridges of energy moving in a diagonal fashion around the body. So that means if you're looking like at a clock, you can move energy on an angle of 11 and 5, as well as 1 and 7. Okay, so you can have a conscious awareness of that energy flow. The purpose of all this energy flow, though, is to move matter. Move matter. Move particles of light in and out of your body. Now, you can also take on the little schematic appearance of the atom with the protons and electrons, and they're moving with the petals of light in every direction. And the nucleus is you. Now, you could take that as being your whole body being the nucleus, or you can take it as your heart chakra being the nucleus and radiating all of that energy out. But breathing is very important because breathing can be utilized to break off static energy that's floating or stuck within your auric field. So you can project it using your breath and your mind, your intent, to push debris away or stagnated energy out of your lungs, stagnated energy out of the organs as well. But you have to allow yourself to go within. Now, I have some techniques I only share, and it's not because it's a secret, but you have to wait till people get to the level to comprehend what I'm saying here. But I just shared with a longtime friend how to, we'll call it scrunch your body, bring your body down to a smaller size, looking at the etheric forms of your body or astral forms of your body in a smaller size. So I have some techniques, which I'm not going to talk about in this particular program, but I'm going to write about it, blog about it a little bit, put it in a lesson format for many people. But it is a good way to experience the depth and the breadth, the width of your chi, how expansive it can be and just how compact it could be by doing such a mental exercise. And that mental exercise, when done, can be used in many different capacities to, let's say, check the status of your own health, of organs and bones, nerve systems, and cells, to check your bloodstream, check your blood pressure. This technique can be used. Now, it does take a bit of effort on your part so that you can do that. It's not something that you can do overnight. And I suggest that once I teach it to you, you don't race through it, but you take some time and allow yourself to develop the sensitivity for it. So here, deep breathing. And the rhythm of your breath is very important. The cadence. Think of breathing like dance, music. You have so many seconds in which you could utilize. You can draw in. If you have the capacity with your lungs, you could draw in more energy, hold it, and then release it. When I mean release, that's exhale. Now, in martial arts, especially in Qigong practices, we think of placing the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the two front teeth. And this connects the frontal channel, center channel, with the back, with the spine. And it creates a loop, a circuit, elliptical shape. And that elliptical shape can be very compacted right down to your spine. You can actually run the energy through the spine, through the spinal column, or just outside of it. You could also expand it so it's running beneath your skin. And when you're using deep breathing, especially if you are a student of martial arts, you eventually learn where the current of the chi is. So I should tell you that the current of your chi is in an area called the fascia, Fascia. The fascia is where it's an area of fiber right where the base of your skin touches the muscles. Now, when someone is practicing acupuncture, you go to a person who has studied acupuncture, and they take those long, thin needles, or the short ones, and they place them strategically following the 365 meridians that run through your body. They know from their traditional study of Chinese medicine with the acupuncture, they know exactly where to place several needles on your body if they need to correct your kidneys, if they need to connect and correct liver issues, fatigue issues, intestinal issues. There are numerous points throughout the body where they can place that. And they're also working with the time of day as well. So if they wanted to, there's a universal grid of time, and there's also a more Pacific time. So if I were you, I would get a hold of the Chinese 5-element system chart, where you can see what organs affect other organs energetically. And you can also see the time of day. So if you were striving to, let's say, strengthen your intestinal area, you'd be doing that somewhere around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you wanted to strengthen your breathing, you'd have to be up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. so that you can make it work. Now, once you understand how the chart works, there is a universal pattern that you could actually use, where you don't have to be at the Pacific gates, but you could be at the minor gates, I'll call it. And then that will allow you to interact with the particular systems in your body. So that's something that you should study. Well, here's another tip. If you're a person who loves to do meditation, like I do, you have two types of meditation. You have the silent meditation, where you just go within. You're not focusing on any particular topic, idea, or feeling. You're just going with the flow of the energy. You're capturing the rhythm of your breath, meets up with the rhythm of your heartbeat, meets up with the rhythm of your brainwave level. There's something called biorhythms that you could also use too, and you could utilize that to activate your radiance. But just understanding a little bit about meditation. And many people always say, well, what's the best time to meditate, or is there a better system of meditation? Well, I've been involved with meditation for 43 years. And I used to think there was some meditation techniques or methods better than others. Well, it's not. It's like when you go out and buy a car, which is your preference that you prefer to drive a car? Stick shift or automatic stick shift? It's a matter of preference. Either one of those cars, if properly tuned up, taken care of, can get you from point A to point B, get you to your destination and back. So there's so many different, there's transcendental meditation, which is designed to transcend your consciousness from the earthly plane to the spirit plane. And being able to recognize that spiritual part of yourself in the physical world so that you have this direct connection to the divine source. But you have to understand the divine source appears to be outside of ourselves. It takes a while to get this concept that the divine source, what we call God or divine providence, we see it emanating outside of ourselves, but it's also happening deeply from inside ourselves. So we have to allow ourselves to, just checking my time, have to allow ourselves to comprehend that what we see outside is reflected deeply from the inside. And the reason why we see what we see is because billions of souls have agreed to say, this is the way it is. So, as my good ascended master Akhenaten says, the hologram is there for a purpose. You don't want to destroy or break down the hologram, really, because it is a learning curve. It's a school. But embedded in the hologram are holy grams. You're a part of the holy grams. You're like, we know that, okay, you got the ego presence, but if you flip those letters around, you'll find the word geo. And you find geo in what? Geometry. Sacred geometrical shapes. But what's being measured? Geo, something that's being measured is the terrestrial complex that you are a part of. And every cell in your body is radiating these sacred geometrical patterns. And they're in the various layers of your body, in your etheric body, your mental body, your causal body, your spiritual body, your emotional body. So your ego is the lower vibration of your geo, your spirit nature. So you can use silent meditation, or you can use guided meditation. Now, guided meditation means you could listen to someone's voice, or you could create something, record it yourself, and listen to your own voice. Or you can use music, or you can use tones like crystal bowls, tuning forks if you want, which is also another way of activating your radiance. So what I'm talking about here, when you want to activate your radiance, is about picking the energy level up. Now, here's another thing. Now, this might create conflict a little bit, but there are some people who have a strong awareness of your levels of chi through the foods that you eat. There's Omaria, how are you doing? Amy.
Good evening. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. So what we're talking about here is activating the radiance in your body. And I just started with a brief list here. So you can activate this radiance through meditation and understanding how meditation works. You could activate it through the study of chi or pranayama, which is deep breathing and intention to hold the breath for a certain amount of seconds through the body, so that when you do that, you are then able to charge up the energy field through your breath. Now, there's also, as I mentioned earlier, for people who go to someone who's an acupuncturist, when you go to an acupuncturist, they are familiar with the various meridians. There are about 365 points in meridians running through the body. They place the needles at certain locations throughout the body. Therefore, they can correct the chi with your lungs. They can correct the chi with just about any organ, your muscular system, and so forth. So, and once these systems are corrected, once the person has corrected those systems, then what actually happens is the balance is restored throughout the body. When the balance is restored throughout the body, then the chi that's there naturally flowing through the body, through the meridians, now can help you activate, actually bring up the radiance, which is the chi or the ki or the prana throughout the body. Now, there are some other things that people do. As I mentioned, silent meditation, guided meditation, meditation with music, be it slow. Some people like to listen to classical music. Some people like to listen to what is more of the new age. Some people listen to some chants involved in the music. You can also use toning sounds. So you can use tuning forks. So you can use tuning forks, you can use crystal bowls, you can use instruments. You might have certain instruments. I'm trying to tune a auto harp here. It's not ready yet. It's way out of tune, but I got the strings on it, and eventually I'm going to use that in some of these live sessions here, so people can hear the tones. There's such people can work with what is called solfeggio tones, and there's about 6 to 9 basic tones. There are actually more than that. People can use those tones to uplift and change the cellular memory. Like one of the favorites is 528 hertz. 528 hertz cycle will allow you to get it out here. 528 hertz cycles will allow you to, and it's a C. It's pretty close to a C range. It allows you to create, as they call, miracles in the body. So, in other words, transformation and miraculous healing, and switch and change the DNA in the body. So, again, there's so many different things that can be utilized. So, if you were, it's about 9, and it's just more than that, it gets even higher. So, there's so many different ways that you can bring change to the body, change to your auric field, activate your radiance. And activating your radiance basically means is opening up the energy centers within the auric field. Once we can open them up, establishment and a greater connection. Being that we are energy beings, the whole goal is to, as the mystics would say, the sages, to have spiritual liberation, so that you're free to move throughout whatever hologram that you're in. Because what I've also found out too, dealing with my ascended master Akhenaten, he says every planetary system has its own hologram, and it's there for a reason. So he says very much like a teaching school. So you don't want to break it down. You want to leave it for other beings to come through and have their experience. But within every hologram, he says there's a hologram system going on. And the hologram is your presence that's there, your I am presence. So we know that the hologram is a 3D world. Beyond that is 4th, 5th, all the way up to 12th. And you're the one you're the key that plugs into the hologram and opens it up. So this is something that we're striving to do all the time. Now, there's some people always have utilized different energetic body work. be it massage, be it chiropractic work, crystal layouts, understanding how the crystals work, crystals and gems, and apply them on your body in various layouts. Now, if you were doing it by yourself, you might want to use certain crystal beaded necklaces that you can lay over your chakras if you're doing it for yourself. Or if you understand how it works, if you had your own massage table, or if you don't have a massage table, you could use your own bed. You could place the layout underneath your bed and then understand where the layout is and then lay on the bed. And the bed itself is just a tool. But you would look at the bed as not really being present in your mind. And therefore, you're laying on top of the grid that way. People have, and I've done it, people have slept with the crystals, put crystals underneath the pillow, or keep a crystal loosely on their wrists when they sleep. Uh, Again, if you're not a person who's very active and you're sleeping at night, you can place the crystals right between your legs, especially around your ankles, and therefore you have the movement that way. Or you could place them as pillars around your room, and then you could have it activated that way. One of the things about working with crystals is that the crystals are plugged in to the earth. So even though you could have tons of amethyst, I've got tons of selenite around in my room here, but that selenite is also connected to selenite every other place on the planet. So even if I don't carry my selenite with me, I just have to remember selenite is in the earth. It's all over the earth. So therefore, once I know the vibration of the selenite, I'm therefore now connected to wherever the selenite is on the earth. So it's the same thing whether it's amethyst, celestite, tektite, moldavite, whatever it is that you're working with. Once you establish that rhythm, that connection to that, you don't necessarily have to have them always on you, because the bottom line is you're it. You're the connection for all of this. So again, you're the holy gram, you're the alchemist plugged into the system. So you can work within the system or outside of the system. So you imagine if you go to someone who's a massage therapist, their job is to do enough deep tissue massage with you that they can release the flow of chi so it's not stuck in your body. Just before you came on, I had mentioned that the base of your skin, the top of your muscle, that little area of connection is called a fascia. So when the acupuncturist or the massage person is pressing on you, or they stick the needle in, that's where it's going. And in the fascia is the river where the chi is housed in your body. So once you are aware of that and place your mindset there, you can move the energy. One of the things that I'm going to be working on is how to envision yourself to be about the size of a crystal on your altar, and how you can get that concept in your mind. You can actually get the concept in your mind where you can hear yourself breathing and it sounds louder, because your physical body is where it is, but your astral body or your soul aspect, you could shrink it down and you could actually walk around on your altar, see things in their beauty, how big that they are. I must say that I haven't gotten to the level yet where I can like open my physical eye and then see my other self walk around on the altar. But I know it's possible. I've been able to feel the presence of like split awareness. So these are not necessarily advanced techniques. Anybody can do them. It just takes a matter of practice and being consciously aware and taking your time so that you could do all that you're supposed to do. Crystals are highly important to work with, and I think people should explore as much as possible. So if you have, whether they're on your altar or spread out throughout your home, you should definitely really get into them so that you know how the crystals function for yourself. Now, there's also reflexology. Most people work with foot reflexology, but there's also hand reflexology. And again, it's the same thing, just understanding that the map on the feet and the map on the hands, how you can activate the levels of chi throughout your body. So now you have meditation, you have deep breathing, you've got the use of qigong exercises. If you're a tai chi practitioner or someone who studies hatha yoga or pranic healing, it just, the list goes on and on and on. You use tuning forks, you can use solfeggio tones, you can use crystal healing bowls. And I think, one of the greatest natural tools is the human voice. So if one can sing their prayers, sing their mantras, sing a poem, create a poem, they call enchanting. That really enchants you, which then hooks into the system around you, and then things begin to move. So that is another tool. That's one of the best tools, is your own voice. And once you could take your voice and play with it enough, you can create a resonation, because the whole idea is to activate the radiance. So now radii and radiance is all these rays around you, rays of light that are streaming the chakras. And be able to feel that and be able to place a tone through your voice, you can begin to feel. Now, when I used to teach Tai Chi to some of my students back east, we used to go into a park. We would pick the same location every time. The purpose for that is, after a while, being in the same location for at least an hour, once a week or several times a week, you will notice that nature is responding to the chi that's being handed out. You can notice, like if you're in an area where the grass was brown, you practice in that grass, that same area enough, you're feeding chi into the earth, and the earth begins to feed the chi back to you. You come back, that place is green. Plants are growing up. Animals that might be, they could feel something going on. And we used to do it all the time and see wild rabbits pop up, because they can feel something. People walking their dogs want to come over because they're feeling something, because you're radiating your energy. And when you radiate your energy in the right manner for yourself, you begin to resonate, which means water seeks its level. The chi reaches its level. So someone's chi, like an animal's chi, feels your chi, and they meet on the same level, same frequency. So the whole idea with some of these ideas that I'm creating your radiance so that you can resonate at a higher frequency is walking. The whole concept, they said walk 10,000 steps. That's almost 4 or 5 miles. But if you can get in the habit of doing it, letting yourself walk maybe 2 miles or a mile, then you'll see. And that builds your energy frame. Some people love hiking. Some people do earthing, which is standing on the earth barefooted. That's another way to raise their energy. People like going to the gym, do it. People love to jog and run, do it. People that run, they get a certain high. They like it. They like the feeling that they get from the jogging and the running. And if you can do all three, walk first, jog, and then run, or do sprints, that also builds and boosts your energy up. Now, here are some other things, though. And these things take us into the level of fasting. So people fast, but you have to figure out what's a healthy amount of time of fasting. So if people never fasted before, maybe fast for a day. I had one of my elders used to call it, she used to say, turn down your plate. Take one of your plates and turn it down. Don't eat at that time. And then eat the next day. And when I remember I used to do it, I said, well, I'm hungry. I said, sister was like, I got to have dinner. She said, no, brother, you got to turn that plate. But once you got into the habit of doing it, you really didn't need the food. The food is, you're drawing it from the different energy sources. So the more I began to relax, I realized, okay, I could miss a meal because maybe some of the foods I was eating wasn't correct anyway for myself. But it's still a matter of preference. So I never tell anybody to be a vegan or paleo diet, because you got to find what works for you. There are certain books out there. One is called Eat for Life, and the number 4 is you types. We know we have the A, B, AB, and O. And O blood types, they could eat anything, and it doesn't bother them. But A's, B's, and AB, they need to eat a certain type of diet that works best for them. So if you were to study that, that would bring a whole another level in for yourself. So again, we've got all these different tools, but fasting is definitely one of them. And people that practice a lot of spiritual work all the time, fasting is essential at some point. You could do it seasonally, meaning every season you could initiate a fast. Fast should maybe go 3 days up to 7 days, 9 days, and that's about it, you know. But that will help re-energize the body, get rid of any toxins out of the system. There's other types of fasting. That's fasting on a physical level. People sometimes need to fast on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level. A lot of people do it all the time. Say, okay, I'm not going to be on my computer for a whole week. So I'm fine. I'm just not going to be on the computer. You won't see me on Facebook for a month. Fast from all the electronic stuff. That's essential. So people, we have to always set up some type of schedule. Now, those of us who do a lot of spiritual work for other people, a lot of healing, you definitely have to take a break to build up your energy so you can resonate. And we look at the word resonate is means to elevate as well as repeat. So you want to take your energy up to a higher level. You don't want to repeat the same level that you were on. You want to go to a higher level. And this is why people always have silent retreats, go someplace where they can just be to themselves, sit out there in nature, go fishing, go swimming, hiking, just to get away, camping, just to get away from a moment from the regular hustle and bustle. These things will help us activate the chi. Beyond that, affirmative prayer treatments work. Again, you're using your own voice. And then you understand the energy is behind the words, behind the tones. Then you can use decrees. Decree is the absolute. I mean, you don't have any doubt in your mind what you're speaking will not work. You already know that it's going to come into play, that it's going to function. So again, we notice we're using sound. When one of my meditations with Akhenaten, he told me the other day that you have light, color, and sound. He said, but your strongest tool for most people is sound. Because you can have light, but with light, you can't really determine what you're looking at. He said, because light can be all over. He said, so you don't necessarily tip your head to the front, back, or right or left when you see light. You usually just look at it. He says color, the same way, you just look at it. But sound, when you hear a sound, you usually tip your head. And you will follow the sound, which then could allow you to see the color, which then takes you to the light itself. So he says the universe talks to us through sound, and sound is the strongest, which makes sense. This is why the medicine people all over the universe chant, say their prayers, say them out loud, speak to spirit out loud. Spirit wants you to talk to it out loud so that you can know it's on the inside of you. Here's another thing too. People are wondering, they got a lot of aches and pains, sinus congestion. They might go to a doctor. They might go to the hospital. They go to their doctor. The doctor says there's nothing wrong. They say, well, I got these aches and pains and numbness that's going on. Now, Akhenaten says you're ascending and transcending at the same time. Toxins are being released. Old programs are being released. Old fears are being released. So he says if you were, let's say, well, we know the big bone person, you might become more solid or slimmer or more toned. If you're a person who is really thin, you might begin to bulk up a little bit. He said the interesting factor is you don't really need a gym to do it. He said it's all up here. So he says get in touch with your soul and let your soul show you the way that it looks inside your body. I was just speaking to my spiritual sister. She said, she's so tired. I said, that's because the angels have to knock you out in order to shift your energy. I said, because they can't shift your energy when you drive it around, you move it around. They're going bananas. Like, she won't stand still, so I can change the program inside of her. So they purposely slow her down to the point where she's no longer fighting it anymore. She's somewhere in the car waiting for her son to come out. She just cracks the windows and go to sleep, takes a nap, because she's being forced to slow down so everything can be shifted. If you have any tightness in your arms, in your joints, you're actually going to be gradually elongated a little bit. Tightness in the spine, gradually elongated. You're going to, I know I have a problem. I always used to have to roll my shoulders, or I never stood up straight. Now I'm being forced to stand up through my body more, drop my pelvis range down and actually stretch out my body more. I'm being forced to go for longer walks. Sometimes I just want to go, man, I just want to go back home. No, I know it's hot. Just go to the store, get a bottle of water, keep on walking. You're trying to stretch your body out. And every time you do it, I feel better. Now, here's some things I didn't have on my list. One of the things we want to employ is what they call the astral travel or the soul travel. That's very important right now because that will help you gain information that you normally couldn't get in a book. So if you can allow yourself to study the concept of and the technique of what they call astral traveling, which I'm going to switch and call soul traveling, you can allow yourself to experience the Akashic records. And they are designated in certain realms of the universe, but as Akhenaten says, the first one is in the base of your skull. That's the first one you need to go to. And you need to understand it's in the base of your skull. And in there, you pull out all this information about yourself. There's such a thing as, my last thing to mention here, there's such a thing as the master cell. The master cell is developed between your mother and your father, and when the sperm and the egg comes together, it kicks off your cell. And then your cell is the one that's multiplying and dividing and multiplying and dividing, creating your spine and your heart, your brain, and everything. But that master cell is controlling everything that's going on in your body. So if you needed to understand what your specific blueprint is, get into the habit of calling forth your master cell. Your master cell will tell you, and it's interesting, your master cell will tell you what foods to eat, different from someone else that you know. Will tell you whether you're supposed to have smoothies and when you're supposed to have them. When you're supposed to drink nothing but water, and that's all you're supposed to have. Your master cell has the key. And it will, if you get to know your master cell, it will help you change your way of thinking. So that's my last word for today is the master cell. But before I close this out, okay, I'm only about 16 minutes past my time. Let's use the last 4 minutes and take this into a meditation. So it's about activating our radiance. The intention that you would like to have is that you are already radiant. So you are now telling the auric field and all of the cells which are loaded with divine intelligence that you are already a radiant being of light. You are a spiritually sentient being, and you're already radiating light. While you do this, I want you to just quickly scan through your body, specifically around your chakras, and see the chakras as a whole and say, you are already a radiant being. Your divine nature is already activated. Your divine nature is already activated. And now ye shall resonate at a higher frequency. You are now a magnet for prosperity, abundance, unconditional love, divine grace, inner beauty, compassion, infinite understanding. You are now one with the divine mind. You are beyond the vibration called the ego. And you are now more of what we call the geo. The Geo is your most sacred part of yourself. It's another way of calling out the God energy in you, the goddess energy in you. You are divine. You are divinely open and aware. You are free. The soul of who you are is absolutely free, free, free. Thank you for joining me today, activating your radiance so that you have a higher frequency to draw in whatever you'd like to draw into your life. I'll be back next Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. The link that you got is the link you can use at any time. Come on live video stream, or you can call any of those numbers that appear there, and I can hear you as well. Thank you so much. I'm going to upload this in about 2 hours. It'll be on my YouTube channel. I'll be on, my announcement before I forget, my book, my revised book in paperback form will sell for $25. It's called Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. And so far as we know, I'll have my books next week. So I'm excited, and I'm definitely, once I get them in my hand. I'll be on Blog Talk Radio next Wednesday, weekly show for 30 minutes at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll probably do something a little similar. Going to bring out some more information for people. But now my book will be amongst the teaching material of the late Wayne Dyer and the late Reverend Ike. And I have my book to teach from now. So these are all the things. So if you want to be in touch, the listening audience, the viewing audience, and those of you who get to see this later on YouTube, you can Skype me at 505-349-4722. You can email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com or iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com. As I say, my grace is your grace. Akhenaten, that divine grace is a blessing, as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Thank you so much. See you next time.